Hey friends, how did you do on week 1? I spend a lot of time thinking and doing a lot of writing. I take a lot of notes and write. And it felt really, really profound. And then I started week 2 and it was even better. So today we're going to talk about week 2 in our book, It's Never Too Late to Begin Again. If you haven't been here before, my name is Angela and I'm so excited to have you. This book is really amazing. If you haven't heard of The Artist's Way, it's a fantastic book by Julia Cameron, and she also writes this book, It's Never Too Late to Begin Again, and that's what we're doing today. So week 2 is all about reigniting a sense of freedom. And I'm going to go along with you today and read you some of the book while I do some journaling. And if you want to take the time to do your morning pages with me, that is fantastic. Whatever you want to do is perfectly fine. So she talks about in week 2, week 1 was reigniting a sense of wonder. Week 2 is reigniting a sense of freedom. And she says, this week, you may find that you simultaneously crave freedom and feel baffled by it. Diving into the next phase of your memoir, you will encounter yourself at a younger time when you desired and received increased independence. Gone is your feeling of inertia. You have a new influx of energy to use for change. And I feel like this is really powerful for me this week because I'm really going through a lot of changes in my life and trying to start over and figuring out what I want to do now since after this health journey. And frankly, it's not over. It's going to be lifelong. So I really need to figure out what I'm doing, and sometimes getting things on paper really helps. She says there's a parallel to be found between the expansion of later childhood and the expansion of retirement. I'm not retiring, but I do love the way that you could use this book if you retire, if you have a midlife transition. You could go through this book if you just want to have more creativity, or you just feel lost and want to reinvent yourself. Whatever it is for you. And I just love the title, It's Never Too Late to Begin Again, and that is exactly what I need. So she says, how do you want to live? Does your space feel cluttered, outdated, friendly, depressing? You may find that making small changes in your home environment will serve you better. And as your sense of freedom increases, your environment will reflect your new perspective. So that was really huge for me because as I went through, and we'll talk about later, I felt like I've really needed to clean and dust and declutter and purge things and give things away, because I don't know about you, but when my space is very cluttered and dirty or just dusty, I just don't feel calm, and I want that sense of calm. So now that Christmas is over and we've taken down all the tree and the decorations, it feels a little bit sparse, and I like that. I like that clean feeling of starting fresh. So this seemed to be a perfect fit this week. She says the next phase of life that you revisit in your memoir will focus on your early school age self and contain memories of new growing independence. And I've got in my journal here that this week for me is age 5 to 9. And so it was really fun trying to think back and have memories, because I feel like I don't have that great of a memory anymore. But this is really sparking it and helping my memory a lot. So that feels really great. So the tasks for this week in week 2 are pick up where you left off last week in terms of your age. And her questions this week to journal prompts are, where did you live? Describe your bedroom. Who are the major players in your life? And if you're following along in your journal, feel free to pause this each time you need to. Did you have a particularly influential teacher? Did you try your hand at any new art forms in this period? What new freedoms did you experience during this time? What were you bored by? Describe a smell that you remember from this stage of your life. And for me, that is still this certain kind of soap, and I think that it's ivory snow. And it just makes me just have this vivid memory of my childhood and being a kid and standing in my mom's laundry room. That's such a special memory, and these really sparked it. The next is describe a favorite treat from this period. Describe a location you remember spending time. And what other memories occur to you from this time period? It's all too easy to put undue pressure on ourselves and criticize how we use our time. We rush from this to that. We call ourselves lazy when we waste time doing nothing. We don't have enough time, or we have too much. We regret the past uses of time. That's a big one. Time spent worrying about things beyond our control. Time lost doing something we didn't love, or endless obsession over, does he or she love me? We are trained as a society to use time wisely and constantly reminded that time is money, time is short, time is ultimately ours to shape and use. And that was such a powerful paragraph. That really hit home. That's so true. It is okay not to know how we want to spend our time at first. We abruptly have more than enough time to pursue our creativity, but that doesn't make it easy. In fact, at this time, when we have the time, we must be most gentle with ourselves. There's no need to be perfect. It is important to simply take one step after the next and trust that we are led. One of the most powerful things we can do is to seek and put structure into our day, and the morning pages are that first step towards building your creative life. And remember that the tasks are to write 3 pages of longhand morning pages every day. Anything that comes out. It's not a novel, it's not your writing, it's just kind of brain dumping everything and getting all of those things out of your head. It can even be a list. And that's what I do a lot. I find that I do lists in them to get myself going, and that really helps me. So then the next task is she wants you to write 5 things that the journal prompt is, if I had more time, I'd try. If I had more time, I'd try, and 5 different things. And then if I had less time, I'd try. If I had less time, I'd try. And those were interesting to me because I wrote, if it weren't too late, I would become a conservation officer. That was something I'd always wanted to do. If it wasn't too late, I would travel the world. Maybe I can still do bits of that. I don't know. These are just sparking mind. Whatever things come to you. I just thought that was so interesting. So then the next topic is clearing a path. And this is where we're really talking about decluttering, how it clears your mind. Is there any wonder that when we sit at our desks, we find it difficult to think clearly? Clutter is the enemy of clarity. A few minutes spent decluttering our environment pays off in increased mental acuity. Most meditation practices favor 20 minutes of committed time. I have found that 20 minutes of cleanup is an effective form of meditation for me. As we toss out old papers, discard those extra things, and we begin to have clarity about life's priorities. Straightening the piles of excess paperwork leads us to clarity about what really matters. A messy desk, a sock drawer equals a messy mind, and of course the opposite is equally true. We literally clear our minds and make room for insights. The process of decluttering while revisiting our lives in the memoir is doubly powerful. As we carefully consider each of our belongings, we trigger memories, and as we revisit memories, many of our belongings take on more or less value. So she says, when you look at everything you own with the pressure to make a keep or throw decision, you realize how much you have and how much you don't really need. It's just being stored, not used, not loved, or looked at. And that's so key. And sometimes I've decluttered and stuff and wished that I hadn't got rid of certain things, but for the majority, I don't even know what is gone, honestly. And it does feel like you have a clear mind. And I've really taken heed on this week, and I'm really cleaning. As you can see in my Instagram stories, I showed all the different corners of my house that I'm redoing and redecorating. And it felt so good. And I still have a huge pile on my living room table of stuff I want to go through, and what do I want to display and what don't I want to display. But it was just really profound how you find things that you've lost. And she uses different examples of different people. And in this story, she talks about a fellow who had his certificates and things like that all put away, and he didn't even remember that he had it. But when he looked at it, he said, I'd always dismissed my accomplishments to some degree. I didn't even know I was doing it. So he was tucking away things that were so special and that his accomplishments, and not displaying them and having other things that didn't matter out. And I thought that was really interesting, because I'm sure I've taken so many things and have so many courses and certificates that I don't even think I have the certificates anymore. But now if I find something, I'm going through all of those different papers and certificates and things that I've accomplished, and making a file for them, just for things that, all the accomplishment things that I've done, in case I want to ever scan or copy them or whatever. So the next task is allow yourself a few minutes in a place in your home where you have been too busy to sit before. Look around from the spot and really see it from a fresh perspective. What do you appreciate? What do you wish to change? If you see many things you wish to change or feel overwhelmed with emotion when doing this exercise, don't worry. Your morning pages will help you prioritize and process these insights. So it's really key to write down these things in your morning pages and what comes in your mind and what you want to change. And it also helps you to be able to remember what you want to work on next and spark different ideas that maybe you never thought of before. And then this part I really love. She talks about boredom, and I feel like I'm someone who's never bored. I have so many projects always that I'm working on. I'm really never bored, but she talks about it. It is a terrifying thought to believe we have no ideas, and in fact, it is never true. But when we are caught in boredom's grip, it can be very hard to pull ourselves out of it and gain some perspective. We need to jolt ourselves out of this inertia. And a few ways to do this is taking an artist date. And remember, an artist date is just going somewhere that you love. Maybe it's a bakery, maybe it's a coffee shop, maybe it's a bookstore or a fabric store, or maybe it's whatever, going and riding a horse. Whatever it is for you, that is your special time to yourself that you've really wanted to do and can bring so much clarity. So then for the task of boredom, the journal prompts are: thinking and remembering when you were a child, instinctively reacting to boredom with imagination and creativities. Select one memory and write on it, re-entering your childhood world. Was it when you put on a puppet show, built a sandcastle, created a pots and pans music band, had long conversations with an imaginary friend, played dress up? I think I've done all of those. And so it was so easy to pick a memory and think about all those and how it just sparks on being a child. I remember having a tire swing way up the hill in the bushes, which now someone has built on this property, but I still remember how fun it was going up to this tire swing and building forts with leaves in the backyard. Those are just such special memories for me. And it just made me think about how much I grew up being outside, why I love the outdoors so much. So that was really cool. I love this whole week. It's been really it is reigniting a sense of freedom in your mind. It's pretty special. And the last topic we talk about is routine. And I found that I really need routine. And she talks about how her daily routine begins when she rises. She brews herself a cup of coffee, gets her notepad and a pen, settles into her large leather writing chair and writes her 3 morning pages. Then she turns to breakfast and walks the dogs, changes the sheets, reads her prayers, calls her sister, etc., and then starts the rest of her day. And it can be so powerful having a routine. Even the gentlest structure rewarded her with a sense of purpose and optimism. As we set new routines for ourselves that are built around our true values, we are rewarded with clarity and ideas. And I think that's so true, because so many times I feel like if I don't follow some sort of routine, my whole day just disappears from me. And it's really sad, because I don't want it like that. And so for the last task, she talks about creating a routine. What would make you feel relieved in your life? Would it be to have some sense of structure, to get more things done, to have more time to yourself, maybe more space, more peace, more quiet time? You have to build those things into your daily life structure. And so creating some sort of routine that isn't super rigid but has some sort of structure to it can really help. And so your last journal prompts are writing 5 things that you say, I would be relieved if I made time to blank. So I would be relieved if I made time to exercise, if I made time to read, if I made time to plan. All those things are what makes me feel better and that I love. And so, guys, that's week 2. Next week, I will be back with Reigniting a Sense of Connection, and that's week 3. And like I said, I'm not doing this every single week precisely. I'm just doing each week as I have time to get through it on my own time. And you can do that too, or you can just do it back to back, whatever you want. And so if you haven't got the book yet, it's Never Too Late to Begin Again by Julia Cameron, best-selling author of The Artist's Way. So this is what I'm doing for my journaling over the next few months, and I hope that you'll join me. It's been really profound, and we're only on week 2. So next week I will see you at week 3, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will be back and see you soon. And if you love to cook or bake and have recipes, I have lots of playlists with cooking and baking, and I also have a playlist all about my heart transplant and cancer journey that I'm still on, and there's an entire playlist where you can watch all of it, and some of it is pretty graphic, but that is why I'm doing this whole journey, because I've just had an upheaval in my life. So if that's like yourself, this book can be so helpful. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye, friends. See you next time.